I was at an AutoZone recently, waiting in line, and like I often do, I started chatting to the person next to me. Well, here I am having this conversation with this guy, and he seemed a little sad. And so I asked him, I said, well, how's life treating you? And to my surprise, he actually opened up, and he talked about how him and his son had recently gotten in a fight, and his son was moving out, and him and his wife recently went through a divorce. Definitely going through a tough time. Well, before we could go more into details of his history and to check out, I really felt like it was important that we talk more. So as he was walking to the front door, I yelled out, even though it was awkward, and I said, hey, do you mind if we talk some more when I'm done? And he said, yeah, I'll wait for you. Well, it took me 15 minutes to return this item, and I figured he was long gone. But when I went outside, there he was by his car waiting for me. Well, as we talked more, it turned out he was recently involved in this accident. He was on his motorcycle, and as he was going, this woman on a bicycle pulled out and he hit her and killed her. Needless to say, he was distraught. And this guy was in a really dark place. Now, imagine how many interactions you have every day with random strangers. We have no idea the things that these people are going through. We have no clue. In the US alone, in 2023, there were over 50,000 suicides. I want you to try something. I want you to try to make sincere connections with people every single day. Now, let me give you an example. How many times do we go to the store and we get our groceries, we go through the line, we check out, we have that very dull, hi, how are you? The checker says fine, and then you walk away, right? That is not a meaningful connection. So try this next time. Instead of saying, how are you? Look at them and ask, how's life treating you? Now, why do that? Well, a few reasons, but the main reason is this person, this checker, all day long, all they hear is, how are you? And then they say fine. How are you? They say fine. If you say something different like, how's life treating you, or something else you want to say, it breaks that pattern, and they're more likely to respond honestly. Now, if you don't want a shallow response, don't give a shallow answer. So if they ask you how you are, be honest. Tell them how your day is going. Go into details. Tell them something specific about your life. And if you do that, they're more inclined to do the same thing for you. Now, when they respond, two things might happen. Number one, they might give you an honest response, which is great, and they tell you how their life is going. But number two, they might say, fine, but usually if they do, there's always some emotion attached to it. So this happens all the time for me. I'll ask them, how's your life going? They'll say, fine. And then I do what I press in. So this happened recently. I was at Trader Joe's and a girl said, yeah, I'm doing fine. But it was so obvious she wasn't. And so I said, well, it doesn't look like you are. What's going on? Are you having just kind of one of those days, huh? And she goes, yeah, I am. And then she finally opened up and started telling me more about her day and what was going on and her manager and the whole bit. But that worked because I pressed in. But remember, when you press in, be sincere. Really care about the other person that you're talking to. Now, another thing you can do is go above and beyond. Let me give you an example. I was in San Clemente, California recently, and I was talking to a girl at a bakery who worked there, the checker. And she was telling me this crazy story. It was Valentine's Day, and one of her customers walked in, and he asked her how she was doing, and he was sincere, and so she gave him a sincere response. Well, she wasn't having a good day, and she told the guy about her bad day and what was going on. Well, here's what's so cool. Next door, there was a flower shop. This guy went next door, bought her some flowers, some roses, I think, and gave them to her. She was elated. I mean, in watching her tell the story, you could tell just how much it made not only her day, but her week and her month. And honestly, she'll probably always, for the rest of her life, remember that day. That simple act that Guy did of buying her flowers, she will always remember. So don't be afraid to go above and beyond when interacting with someone. Here's another idea, something simple. A lot of grocery stores these days have Starbucks inside of them. So if you meet someone and they're having a bad day, or even if they're not, try this. Go when you're done talking with them, go to the Starbucks, buy them even just get them a gift card for just a cup of coffee, a latte, whatever, and then hand it to them. No one ever does that. That will make such an impact on someone's life. And here's the cool thing. It'll also impact your life. So try that. But just remember, the overall goal with this is to leave the person in a better place than when you first saw them. Think about that. Every interaction you have with someone, every single one, try this. Try and leave them in a better place than they were before. That can just be by being really nice and giving them a compliment. When I'm talking to someone, I often look for some item of clothing or jewelry that I can compliment them on. You would be amazed at how it makes someone feel. Last thing too, don't forget to get someone's name. So going back to this guy that I met at the AutoZone store, I got his name, and right then and there, I prayed with him. And it was so powerful. Now oftentimes, you don't have the time or it just doesn't work out where you can pray for them. But get their name, go home and pray for them. Prayer is so powerful. And remember this simple act can save a life. Literally, this simple act can change someone and save a life.